Yes, so thank you everyone. We are starting. Um, Today's session will take a slightly different tangent from what we have been, the path we have been taking in the previous sessions. And I believe it's going to be an interactive one, and we are going to learn and enjoy the session, and of course participate in one way or the other, as we have always been doing. So you're welcome, everyone, and I'd like to maybe do a brief on what ToiletSpark is and a few of the services that we do offer before we dive straight into today's session. So ToiletSpark Digital is the trading name for ToiletSpark company, and we are building brands, and we are fueling growth actually. Aside from championing for the same, we are actually leading the way by doing so. Um, we offer a range of services, as you can see on the screen. We do business registration. We we do logo and visual design, the graphics, posters, flyers, business cards, company profiles, social media, graphics and images. We do all those. We also build websites. We also provide AI solutions. We manage social media platforms and pages. We also do photography and videography, as you can see, video editing. We also do translation or localization, and we also do motion graphics and much more. So these are the services we provide, and you're welcome anytime to reach out to us, and we'd be glad to guide. So I will be bringing the moderator, Herin. So I'd like you to put your hands together. Let's jam our hands using the emojis, and let's invite Herin as she takes the stage for today's virtual roundtable. So Herin, you're welcome.
Thank you so much to them who have joined, and good evening. Welcome to today's ToiletSpark Business. It's a round table, and we are very much grateful that you have joined. I can see we are quite a number. So it's a conversation. Today we're just going to have a conversation that every entrepreneur can relate to in terms of overcoming startup struggles. So generally, starting a business is exciting, but it's also a journey filled with uncertainty, sacrifice, and lessons that you can only learn by walking that path. And today we are diving into those real stories, practical solutions, and the mindset that keeps founders moving forward even when the road gets tough. We have a panelist consisting of three. That is Mrs. Eve Otieno, we have Dennis Charles, and we have Nancy Moire. We will have one more joining at a later stage. So at the moment, before we get into the conversation, allow me to welcome our panelists, four incredible builders who have walked through their own valleys and came out stronger. Without wasting much time, allow me mute and welcome them. We'll start with an introduction from Mrs. Eve, followed by Dennis and Nancy Moire. Thank you. As Eve prepares, we can have Charles Dennis. If you can hear me, just kindly unmute and do a brief introduction. Your name, your business, and any highlight.
Okay, I'm Charles Denis Ochieng. That's my name, and I run a brand by the name Charlo Graphics, and I do certain a number of businesses, and the most common one or the one I do most is I run a cyber, that's printing, and we do some bit of branding. I also do photography and videography, and I also run an online store which I sell shoes and menwear, and also the recent one which I'm now venturing into is in selling of the skates and the skate equipments. So that's what I'm into, and let's hear from the rest of our panelists.
Thank you, Dennis. Nancy, you can pick it up.
By name, I'm Nancy Mwar. I'm not much into business, but I've tried. Yes, a while ago I was doing. I had done supplication of merchandises, these printed T-shirts, for some years. That's where actually I began. And right now it's at the very early stages of initiating a PR firm. It's fully registered. So it's more of a service-based business. And of course, yes, I do have a background in business. So I think my skills and ideas can help one or two in terms of startup struggles and why people sink along the way.
Thank you, Miss Nancy. We appreciate your presence. We hope to learn a lot from you. Allow me move to Eve. Eve, can you hear me?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eve. I'm a professional several others by the name Glow with Eve Kenya. We're into the beauty industry where we offer our services for makeup during weddings, baby showers, bridal showers, graduations, and any personal need that someone might have when it comes to beauty. I'm glad to be part of this great discussion this evening.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Eve Otieno. We are glad to have you around. I'm one of the people who follow you closely. So there's a lot I've learned, and I desire that even the team will learn. So welcome so much. So before we get into the conversation, I'd like to take just 2 to 3 minutes for the panelists to share their startup story, the struggles that shaped them, a turning point moment, and one key lesson they carry to this day. So we'll start with Eve, then we'll move to Dennis, and finally to Nancy. Eve, karibu.
Yeah, so initially when I started the business, I was employed. I was into full-time employment, but I was only doing Monday to Friday. So I was like, now that Saturday and Sunday I'm free, why don't I do something on the side that can bring me an extra coin? And you know, this is not makeup art. It's not something that you can just wake up and decide that you want to become a makeup artist. It's something you have to learn. It's more like going back to class to learn. It's not like you can just wake up and go to town and buy shoes in wholesale and start selling in retail. Yeah, so of course the struggles were, of course, once I got the place somewhere to do the learning. Initially, after I knew how to do it, one of the major challenges that I faced was clients, because especially from people who know you, because you see all your life, these people have never seen you doing makeup, and then all of a sudden you're a makeup artist, not just doing makeup on others, but even on you. It's like it's like your brother. It's like your brother wants to inject you, and you know very well that this person. Yes, he studied, but you know, you have those trust issues, maybe because you know them too much of a familiarity. So it might not be easy for you to accept them to inject you. So it was like that, not getting clients, or maybe people thinking you're not serious. When did you learn this thing? Why did you learn it so fast? What brought the interest? So I think initially the challenge was getting clients. But as time goes by, you have to keep encouraging yourself, because you see, again, this industry has so many people, but there will always be that one thing that sets you apart from the masses. So initially, the challenge was getting clients, lack of confidence, because you find that maybe you've already done that. Someone has an event, or maybe you are working on a model, and then you find that yes, you've done that work, it looks good, but you don't have that confidence to post your work online. So you're like, oh, what will people say? You know, that thinking that you usually have, what will people say? Is my work okay? Does it look good on camera? So all those thoughts you have in your mind. But at the end of the day, you just have to believe in yourself. Actually, my turning point was I had done that makeup thing for quite a long time, but I never used to post. It's not because I didn't have a page. I actually had a page, but I never used to post. But there was a time that I really had a turning point. I was listening to a podcast. It's about marketing. And the lady was talking about big brands like Coca-Cola, Safaricom. And the lady was asking, how come these big brands, they keep marketing their things, yet everybody knows about Coca-Cola and Safaricom. And the lady was saying that out of sight, out of mind, every day brands come up. So if you are not able to be consistent, if you're not able to maintain the visibility, with time people forget about you and start focusing on other things. And it taught me that even from the beginning, I need to be confident enough to put out my work out there, because even with online, again, you have to be ready to accept criticism. Sometimes it can be positive, sometimes negative, and even from the negative ones you learn. And again, when you're posting your work online, it taught me that you're not just posting it for that particular day. When you keep posting and posting and posting, the consistency will actually bring trust. People will start trusting your work because they can see the seriousness and how consistent you are. And once people trust your brand, then it will be easy for them to reach out to you. Someone may see your work for so long, they might not book you today, but just by you being consistent, they can actually refer you to someone else. So that was my turning point, listening to that podcast and accepting to put my work out there, just being confident and being consistent. Thank you.
What a nice way to start. That is very motivating. Allow me give time to Nancy. Nancy, if you can hear me.
Yes, thank you, Helen. Now, this is how my journey with business began. It was in 2020. Actually, one thing I knew that an opportunity presented itself to me, and I trusted myself, and therefore I believed that I have to do it. So one day, very early in the morning at around 6, there is a gentleman who called me, and this gentleman was trying to find he was calling the person who was supposed to supply t-shirts for him, and he misspelled. He missed one number, and therefore he landed in my number. So when he called me, I don't know how coincident it was, because the names were also the same. So when he called me, Nancy, when can the t-shirts be ready? So I was just listening. I'm like, which t-shirts and what do you want? And he needed like 100 t-shirts. So we talked, and he told me, let's have 1 week. I'll give you an upfront so that you deliver the t-shirts. Up until there, he did not realize that I was not the person he meant to be calling. So after he had hung up his call, I was like, just to deliver t-shirts. Why can't I do this thing? Then very fast, I called my friend whom I knew was into this business, and I called him, hey, Nick, I need 100 t-shirts, printed, screen printing and everything. Then he told me, have you ever done this before? I told him, no, I've never done this. And just someone has just called me, and therefore this is where I'm beginning this business. Then he just laughed. Then he told me, okay, just try, but we'll talk after this. So that's how this application of t-shirts started. That was around 2020. So when I delivered these t-shirts, Nick, that guy, gave me leads to some people who print t-shirts in town, and therefore I went there. Of course, I had the prior idea. Based on what Nick has been doing, and now I knew what I was going to do and how to bargain and everything. So the first batch, I got 50 t-shirts, and the return was very good. So I got interest. I said, why can't I just do this thing in a real thing? So, but when this person who had paid an upfront, then he realized when the real client called and asked, we were to do some business, what happened? Then it's like, Kwani, we've not been talking. No, we've not been talking. Then whom did I call? I've even paid some money. Then he called me again. Ati, have we ever met physically? I said, no, we've never met. We've only spoke through the phone. Then he's like, oh, I missed your number. But can you do this business? I said, yes, I've been doing it. The confidence I had, I've been doing it. Then he's like, fine. I'd missed it, and therefore I cannot really revert from this point because the first client had called, and therefore there is nothing I can do. So when I did that, I felt like I should do this thing. So it took me a while to get the second client. So I'm like, where do I go? What do I do? Do I need to rely on supplying printed t-shirts only, or what can I do? So it took too long, kabisa. And I think after a year and a half is when I got the second client, of which, and I was supplying t-shirts to a university event. Yeah. And that one also went well. So out of this whole thing, why this thing never survived to see the light of the day was poor planning. There was no vision. I later realized that I was carried away too much with the returns. So I'd already calculated selling one t-shirt at this amount, printing, paying like this, delivery like this, then what is the return? So I was much interested with the returns, and I do not have the clear planning of where I want to go and where I want to take this business to. So number one take point home for me is that let's not just wake up today and do the business tomorrow, because we are seeing people are thriving in the business. Let's sit and internalize what we really want to do, where our interest lies. Because if you know where your interest lies, you will do it regardless of the challenges. Regardless of what you're going to meet along the way, you'll just stand up tomorrow, dust up yourself and move. Because if we do it because maybe afraid, because number one thing is that I knew that Nick is doing this supply thing. So I was so much confident I'll win because I'm seeing my friend is doing it, not knowing the struggle in between. If I can give you analogies that sometimes we go to the shop and buy something that we wish to ever wanted kabisa. After buying it, the morale of having that particular thing or the product is subsiding a little. Like me, if I buy something today I'll not feel the zeal that I had of owning that product, but I'll feel the gap left, the detachment of the money used to purchase this particular thing. That's the same thing with business. We will start with so much enthusiasm, but along the way, we will get discouraged. Number one, you'll get, for example, you start a business tomorrow, you get the first client on Saturday, second one on Monday, you still have that interest. The real thing will come along when you go 2 days without clients. Then you're like, why am I not selling? And maybe the person seated next to you is selling massive sales, but you're just seated there. But if we have the interest, we will keep up. We will not be discouraged so fast. Number one, the interest carries people along. I've even seen some of my friends resigning full employment to go just start the business out of the interest. So let's have the interest. Let's have a clear planning of what we really want to do and not just waking up like me, what happened, and now just start without knowing where you're going, without ambitions, and with no clear structure of what you really need to do. Then upon that, we will have, if you have the interest, then clear planning, and therefore you will arrive at your ultimate goal, of which now the plan will lead you to where you need to go. As I wrap up, I'll end with a quote of one person who said, run, even if you're the only person who know where you are running to, run. What will motivate you running is the end goal. For example, if you want to lose weight, just run. If you're running to south and people are coming from south to north, go to the south. Maybe that is where the massive weight will go down. So let's plan, let's have the interest, and let's have the clear vision. Thank you.
Awesome. That was a good one. At Dennis, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Irene. Okay, I want to give a brief start of how I started my business back in 2020, during that Corona period time. I was doing a part-time job in TUK as a cyber. I was just helping in one of the cybers there in TUK. Then I was learning 1 or 2 on how to do printing, those stuff which you do in the cyber, maybe printing, photocopy, all those basic knowledge about print works. And but then I was in KU. I was also still studying in KU. I was in second year there. I was in second year, in my second year. And so when I came back after COVID, now we are back to school, and I identified a niche in the printing business. And we had in KU, we had the architectural school was in Ruiru. So most of the printing work they were doing around Ruiru, Cairo, those areas. So when the school was now brought back to KU, now main campus, so they didn't have anywhere to print except town in Juja. So they were doing their print works in town in Juja. And I had a friend who was doing architecture, and I asked him, where do you print your work? He told me, in town or Juja. Okay, first of all, I told him I have someone in town who can do some printing at some good price, because by then they were printing a one at 250, 300, but for us in TUK, we were printing it at 200, so it was a bit cheaper, and I saw the niche, so I wanted to I wanted to now venture into it and have something different. So because we had those who are doing printing, but they're not providing what this market required by then. So that's how I landed into my printing business, and I now started to find the space where I will now establish the business, the kind of material, the printers I will be having to serve them better, and the challenge was now the capital, because those printers are quite expensive to say. So the first challenge, the biggest challenge I had was now getting the funding to have these printers. And I got a helper. I had one of my cousins who was quite able, because by then he had some good money, and I convinced him to give me some amount to maybe buy a machine and start off the business, and promised him some quite good returns to pay him back. And it worked. Thank God, things went well. I went and bought the machines, and we started the business. So I want to say, if you want to start a business, one of the things you must at least try to do is, first of all, you understand what you want to do, understand the business, and identify yourself with an age. Find something, an age in business. So just find something that is quite different from all those providers that are providing the same service you're providing. Be it photography, find something where you can just be just different from whatever the rest are doing, but that was identify you from the rest. So for me, it was now the large format printing, because we had so many print shops but couldn't print the large format. So that was my age, and for you to maybe go well, whatever is making you different from the rest must be at least congruent to your personality. It's something that you can able to cope with. It won't make you struggle a lot, but it's something you can work along with as you start. So that's how I started my printing business in KU, and after some time, it really did well. And I want to say there's something that comes with you getting some amount of money, not that much, but some amount of money, or realizing that your business is giving you something. So one of the challenges I had, it was the excitement that comes with that money. So you find yourself, you have this much money, and now you get too much excited, you become so much overwhelmed, and you start to forget what you need to do, or in case if you need to, maybe the money you are supposed to use it to restock, maybe buy materials for the next period of time when you'll be doing printing. So you find yourself, you're using this money for the purposes that maybe you're not supposed to use them for. And so this makes you think that if maybe, I know in time you can, when you get money, you start to plan, maybe I want to buy this, I think I should have this. So that being overwhelmed makes you miss the point of the business, because you now kills the vision of the business, and by you spending the money for purposes other than that of the business, makes you, it can make you fail as a business person, or makes the business not reach or serve its market, the people it's supposed to serve well, because maybe somebody want to print this amount of sheets. Like, for example, someone may say, I want to print 100 at once, but because the money you're supposed to buy the rolls to print the 100 at once, you have shifted the use to some other personal use. So that's some of the problems I've maybe found myself into. And another thing about another thing I've encountered, and one of the major challenges I also have, is to start a business is really time consuming. So you find yourself, you are ever in the business, you wake up early, you maybe sleep late, and you find much of your time is spent on that business. And if you're not ready to go that extra mile, sometimes you'll think that this thing is really draining you. But for it to start, you need to invest your time in it, do your research on whatever product you're selling or whatever market you're into, understand the people you are serving and understand how the market works. And another lesson I've learned in business is you shouldn't predict that because last month I made a sale of 6,000, so this month I know I'll make this. No, you must just at least stop predicting things and you start reacting to the market, how the market behaves, because if you predict and maybe it doesn't work the way you predicted, you'll become discouraged and you may even want to quit. So I think that's what I can say for now, but back to you, Irene.
Thank you for the powerful stories. I would have started with the biggest struggles that every startup faces, that is finances. But you have talked slightly about it. And I hope my colleagues in here were able to grasp something from your introduction and the stories of how you started and how you've been sailing through. So yes, there are struggles, and there's dealing with fear and uncertainty and the self-doubt. So money is tough, but sometimes it's the internal battles that shake us the most. And entrepreneurship comes with fear, doubt, and pressure. So at this point, allow me pass some questions to our panelists. Dennis has mentioned something of the moment when he was genuinely low and what kept him grounded. My question to the panelists: how did you handle seasons where the results didn't match your effort? If you can go first.
Yeah, so with that, I think I experienced it at some point when the business was really slow. I think once in a while, every business experiences that slow moment. And for me, one of the things I had to do was just to go back to the drawing book and understand what the problem is. And you see, at some point, when at first, when the business is very slow, you are really questioning your decision. You're like, was it this really the right business for me to do? And during that moment, I had to go back to the drawing board and see what I was doing wrong. And one of the things I had to do at that time was to upgrade my skill, because I realized that I was doing the same thing over and over again. I just had one technique, but one of the things I had to do was to upgrade. It was a moment for me to upgrade. And also, during those moments when I could not find a model to practice on, I had to do it on myself or talk to my sibling to practice on them, learn a new technique. And for me, I came to learn that the slow and quiet seasons are not punishment, but they are truly a moment of preparation. Yeah, so it was a moment to check on my work, technique, improve on where I have to improve, and appreciate the season because it was not a punishment, but a moment of preparation. Thank you.
Awesome. So what I'm taking there is you take a moment, step back, see where things didn't work. Nancy, maybe you can just share on the same question. How did you handle seasons where the results didn't match your efforts?
Thank you, Irene. I'll not dwell much on my business because it sank. But the key take-home point when you're running a business and the results do not match your expectation, number one thing is to re-strategize. There must be a miss somewhere. I'm saying that based on what happened to me. Only if after the first delivery, That's after 1.5 years. Only if I could sit back and really replan myself that this is what I want to do, it could have thrived. But I didn't. I was so carried away with the first return, and therefore I expected that even the next return, things will go on well. But that wasn't the case. So if the result do not match your expectation, remember you are not the only person who is doing this business in the field. There are so many people, and therefore the competition is very strong. So I'll just refer our clients to what we had tackled earlier about marketing. Re-strategize yourself, plan, analyze your market, and understand the direction of your business. How is it? How is the business moving? What are the other competitors doing that you yourself are not doing? And why would a client A prefer the next door and not you? Maybe it can be because of how you package things. It can be because of your attitude that is driving customers away. So re-strategize, analyze your first period, and understand the direction of where the business is heading to. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Nancy, for the powerful insight. There is this one big topic. It's about finding the right support system. So no one builds alone. The people around you often determine how far you go. So how did you learn in your early days? Mentors, friends, and who did you lean on most to learn from them? Your mentors, your friends, or your partners? If you can go first.
So it was a group of friends plus my husband. I remember initially when I started, I remember I first posted a picture of what I had done on a client to a group of ladies that we shared dreams and the goals and aspirations with. And of course, being a small group of ladies and we are all always moving towards a direction of achieving our dreams, they were able to encourage me. And as time goes by, I found myself every time I do a makeup on client, I would post there and then they would tell me this is what you're supposed to do. So I think it was really a good support system for me because I had that inner circle that was telling me the truth and also advised me on what to do. And of course, my husband being being in the finance, being in the finance, being someone who has done finance was able to encourage me because you see initially when you are starting a business, especially when you've spent money to learn that thing, you expect a return to come soon. But of course, also for him with the finance knowledge, he was able to encourage me that sometimes it has to start small because a good business sometimes it can be organic. It starts small and then you make some more and more money as time goes by. Because at first I was very discouraged. I was like, oh, I wish I had used that money, the capital, which I used to study the course to do something else. But he was able to remind me that sometimes the business doesn't give you returns immediately. Yeah, so a group of friends and also my husband was able to be there for me at that particular time. And yeah, it has been a good season. It was a good season and we continue to learn every day.
Thank you. So team, this is what I'm learning, that you will need someone, you will need some people. You may not be able to do it alone because you need someone to encourage you. You need someone to give you an advice on what to do, how you can go about it. So it is you to know the right support system. So on the same topic, allow me pose a question to Dennis. Dennis, how do you deal with being overwhelmed when you're carrying everything alone?
Okay, thank you, Irene. So as an entrepreneur, first you must make it known to yourself that you are the only person who must do it the way you want it, because you are the interest came from you, to start that business. So without you taking the full mandate to do everything that entails in that business, because as you start, you can't just start it and then you employ maybe a finance manager, someone who is taking maybe dealing with the supplies. You first of all start it as yourself, because you are the one who has the dream and the purpose of that business. You are the vision bearer. So everything to go right as per your vision, you must just push yourself that much so that you can take all that it needs, all that you need to run it. Be it going and looking for the stock, doing some research on the market trends. Just remind yourself that it's me. First, it's me. So normally what I do, if maybe I think this is too much for me, I remind myself where I started. And because we need to reach somewhere, you must just continue pushing. You don't quit. And I think I don't remind myself I need to, because without me doing it, no one will do it better the way I want it to be done. So I must take all the responsibility that I need to take, make it happen the way I want it to be. Yeah, that's what I normally do, Erin. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Dennis, for reminding us that the vision is what will drive you when you're overwhelmed and when you're carrying everything alone. The vision will drive you and will keep you moving. So I know time has gone, but I have some few questions which I know maybe I tend to think they are common questions. And before I welcome the Q&A session, allow me to put across my second last discussion point, that is on the topic of team and talent decision. Dennis, I know you're working with a team. If I am not sure, but maybe you will tell us. And Nancy, if you did the business at that point, you needed some people. And a strong vision needs the right hands. So let's talk about hiring, partners, and the team alignment. How do you identify people who will align with your values and your mission? And what advice would you give someone struggling to find trustworthy team members? Nancy,
Okay,
you
can I go first?
Yes.
Thank you. I want to give you two different dimensions. The first one is the business that collapsed, and the one that I'm currently working on. The very first one was a product-based business, and this one is a service-based business. So this is what I realized. Of course, no man is an island, and therefore you need a helping hand, because in terms of purchasing the t-shirts, delivering them, and doing all the stuff, you need someone. You need to bring someone on board. But number one thing that I clearly understood was that this was a business that has never been in any picture or has never been in my mind, and therefore my interest was the return. And it was also a very, very young business. So there was no way I could employ someone. So is you just bump on someone, for example, for delivery, maybe you are common person who always drop you from one point to another is the person you can trust here. Because number one, after purchasing the t-shirts, giving someone you don't know, what of if they vanished with the t-shirts? What are you going to do? And someone has spent the money. You've also calculated your efforts and the returns in it. So you need to trust someone. So in terms of trusting someone, or in terms of seeking support, friends can work best, because number one, I believe these are friends that you have known couples of months or years behind, and therefore they can show interest in doing this particular thing. That's the right person for me to bring on board You can just share the idea. I want to do this. Are you willing? So that you start together. Understand in terms of starting together when the business thrived, and then it can bring issues in terms of sharing returns, but you have to agree, because it's from your networks that you're going to get the leads of the next selling point. So if you cannot just get into a totally strange person to you and start sharing something and trust them, and therefore you expect the next selling point from them, but it will come from your friends and networks that you have around you. So the second dimension that I want to give is this one is a service based. It's a PR firm that is coming up, and therefore we cannot look. Of course, right now we're a team of 4 people, but the entire team, everyone has a strong background in communication or something related to it. The benefit of this is I believe everyone has the zeal of doing what they're doing or studying what they studied, and therefore you can understand the ethics, professionality, and you can have the interest of which will drive. The benefit of having someone who has a high interest in what you're doing is like you are going to share the burden with them, rather than just forcing someone who has no interest to it. When there is a burden, you are on your own. But when you have someone who is highly interested in what you're doing, you are going to share the burden. If there is a loss, you can come in together and share the ideas, and therefore uh, everyone can carry the shoulder of the other, and you will come up again. But if you just pick someone who is there for the incentive itself, when the business goes down, or what you had asked earlier, when the seasons are not working as expected, it's obvious that they'll run away. So when they run away, remember you're trying to create a rapport with them, and at this point the business is sinking and they've already eloped to their own ways. What are you going to do? So identify the interest. If it's a service based, I will really encourage us to check someone who has the prior background of the particular services being offered, because they'll understand very much a lot of professional ethics in it, so that kuna some common mistakes that can be done by someone who have no understanding of how field works, as compared to someone who has the understanding of how field goes. So it will help in terms of professionality, in terms of common mistakes and interests. So if it's a product based, depending with the business, check your friends with the interests. Or someone might be having the intent of starting something, but there is no capital. That's someone you can bring on board. So as she will give a helping hand through the effort, then they'll also gain the skills from you. So it's a win-win situation. So maybe later in the day, if they have the skills, then they can really venture into the business, having a full understanding of how it's running. If it's majorly service based, then number one key thing is checking the background information of the person, as compared that is purely related to the services being offered. Yeah, I think that's my take on it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That has been well put. I don't know if we can have one more from the panel to say something on the same before I proceed. If maybe you can tell us if you're working with a team, and what advice
Yes.
would you give someone struggling to find a trustworthy team member?
Yeah, so depending on the bookings that I have on a particular weekend, I usually subcontract. So maybe you find that maybe at a particular wedding I have like maybe 15 girls. So you see again with this service, most of the time you can actually get a booking of 10 ladies. But when you get to the venue, you find an auntie who's also interested in doing makeup. You find maybe there's this niece, this cousin. So sometimes the number can really overflow up to 15. So most of the time when I have a booking for a wedding, I usually go with an extra person. And when it comes to, a business that is service based, it's more of it needs a lot of tolerance.
tolerance, because sometimes you can actually go to a place and you find that maybe the people that you found there, yes, they will pay you, but they have an attitude, they're complaining, they're criticizing everything. So sometimes you're just done applying a bride makeup, then they look at themselves on the mirror, and then because they look too good, they start crying. Now you have to start from scratch. So we usually face a lot of challenges, but with one of the things that has enabled me to identify a good teammate is someone's attitude in the midst of challenges. Because you see, there are people that you can work with and they're always good until a challenge appears. So for me, I've learned to check on the attitude of the person that I'm working with and also just their ability to learn. Because again, having a teammate who has the attitude of know it all can be very hard, because there are people who are not willing to learn from you. They're not willing to do anything, to go an extra mile. So just the attitude, because you see, if you're working, no matter how good you are, if you're working with someone who has a bad attitude, it can really, really weigh you down. You will always be struggling because you have to tell them to do everything, even what they know they're supposed to do. You have to keep reminding them. If there is a challenge, you find that maybe they will not appear for that particular booking. Yeah, so for me, I've learned to be very keen. And you see, when it comes to an attitude, is something that you can always tell within the past few days of even meeting someone. You just see how they handle their clients, how do they respond to maybe something that has not happened well, how do they respond to a complaint from a client. Are they the type that they will start to argue? Is it the type that will start to exchange words with clients? How is their attitude? Are they always looking unbothered when you want to teach them something new? Yeah, so for me, those are things I've learned to look out for when I'm going to subcontract someone, their attitude and just their willingness to learn and how they take up a challenge or how they react in the midst of a challenge. Yeah.
Awesome. Allow me close my topics. I know there are a lot of questions because we are like in a class and we'd like to learn. But allow me pose the last question to the panelists, and maybe Deno would take it up. So there are mistakes, but they can become fuel for our growth. So there are moments like you need to turn mistakes into momentum. Dennis, if you could speak to your younger entrepreneurial self, what warning would you give?
Thank you, Irene. So there are some mistakes we do in business, and maybe I can say we don't call them mistakes. Maybe there are some risks we make and take, and these risks maybe come and maybe build us and make us grow in business. So for me, one of the something I can maybe advise someone who wants to start up something is financial management. But if you know, there's this idea I've seen. Maybe people are, maybe you are doing some business and your money, the business money is being sent to your personal number, and you expect by the end of the day you'll have this money and maybe buy stocks with it. That maybe doesn't work most of the time. So what I can advise someone, if you want to go well in your business, make sure your financial records are well kept. And to be precise, maybe have a bank account where all the money you receive are channeled to your account, so that, because by having that account, you get to enjoy certain benefits, like the banks can give you certain loans, and these loans you can use to expand your business and maybe grow to certain levels maybe you can't understand. So that's one of my advice I can give: financial management, how you manage your finances. Something else. maybe I can add on. Irene, is there anything maybe?
No, that's all. Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
Sorry for interjecting. May I just react to that?
Yes, yes.
The greatest take home point for me in business is discipline. You cannot start a business this month. Next month, the whole week you're not there. The shop is closed. Or you're just consistent enough, but you come in at your own time. You need to identify the peak hours. You have to be there regardless. So for me, in business, discipline will also count a lot. You have to you should just know that you are reporting to yourself. You have to be there at the right time. You have to be there consistently, regardless of the challenges being faced, but you have to be there. Because remember, you are trying to create networks, you're trying to own clients, and that is why I'll choose that this thing I'll just have to do it in Telespark and not in any other service being offered in that's somehow like digital thing. So what will make a client identify themselves with you is how you discipline yourself, how you handle them, how you report, and your consistency. Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to air out. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nancy. To our panelists.
Just to add on that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, one of the things I will tell my younger self is do not, when you are a business owner, you must learn to be shameless. You must learn to market your business as if your life depends on it. One of the things I usually say is that a quiet mouth cannot be fed. There is no way you can say that you own a cyber, maybe you're doing printing, you're a makeup artist, and even people around you don't know that you're actually a makeup artist. This thing, you are hiding it like someone who is selling bang. And I will give a scenario. Some few months ago, I had taken a friend of mine. I had accompanied a friend of mine who was getting married. And we were looking for seats. We were a group of ladies who were going somewhere in Homa Bay. And we were looking for seats that Orche will use. So you see, the way you're at home, you're trying to hire tents and chairs and everything. And then when you get there, the person that had been told to supply these things did a very shoddy job. And then one of us in this group, who comes from a nearby village, tells us that morning after we've complained about this shoddy this shoddy work that had been done by this particular supplier. This person tells us that her mother hires tents and chairs in the village. And you see, for us, we had to feel bad for her because we had spent a lot of money. This person had done a shoddy job, only for her to tell us, unajua nini, hata mama yangu anahayanga tents. So you see, probably that business is not hers, but you see the fact that she was quiet about her mother doing this same business. At the end of the day, they lost that business, and it was a lot of money. And at the end of the day, we also didn't get a very good deal. So don't be quiet about your business. In church, let people know what you are doing. If it is a side hustle, at my workplace, people know that I'm a makeup artist, but that is not what I do Monday to Friday. But people know that on weekends, when they have a wedding, they know that I'm a makeup artist, and they can call me if they have maybe a dinner, maybe after work, I do for them makeup. So let people know what you are doing. Be shameless about your business. Shout about it as if your life depends on it. And for me, that is one of the things I was able to learn from the early months of doing the business. Shout about your business. Let people know about anybody who has ears. Let them know that you are doing that business. And you never know. Probably they might not need it, but they will refer you when the service will be needed. Thank you so much.
And that one deserves a clap. I can imagine how you're bringing it. And I was just telling myself, some of these conversations, they are well put when we do it physically in a physical meeting and not online. I don't know if our CEO Bonke is here. Bonke, some of these topics and some of these meetings, they need to be physical so that we can see if talking and doing action so that the points can sink. If there's something that I've learned so much from Eve is the marketing bit. Everywhere she goes, every day on her WhatsApp status, it's glow with Eve, everything. I think her life changed. Like anything that did matter from then was just glow with Eve. At this juncture, maybe Bonke, you can consider us having a topic about marketing. It's a good one. So thank you for the depth and honesty so far. To our panelists, we appreciate you. I would like to now hear from the audience. If you have a question, you can drop it in the chat or just raise your hand. Such a session should not end without questions. To us who are yet to start our business, personally, I haven't started, but I'm hopeful and trusting God that I will start mine soon. And this was a very important session for me. So from the audience, if you have a question, kindly put it on the chat box or raise a hand. Thank you. Easter, do you have a question or a comment to the panelists?
I really do not have a question, but I want to commend our panelists. That was a very interesting, engaging, and well-handled discussion. I know all of us have learned. Personally, I've learned so much that I'm even going to apply in my business. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Easter. So if there are no questions, this means our panelists did a good job. They did explain everything into details. However,
I have a question. I have a question to Irene.
Yes.
Irene, what do you sell?
Hello, thanks so much, Eve, for that. I deal with sorry?
You've mentioned that you'd be able to apply it in your business. I was just asking what you sell, what service you offer.
Okay, I deal with motor vehicle services. That is repair and maintenance of motor vehicle, supply of spare parts, transport and logistics. Yeah, it's a partnership. So that's what I also do. Okay. Besides graphic design, thank you.
All right.
I'm soon buying a car, so I hope I'll be your client. So as we wrap up, I want to appreciate our panelists. And before I close, maybe I can just call the panelists to each say something. Let me start with Dennis and then Nancy and finally Eve.
Thank you, Irene. First of all, I want to say that this meeting was well organized, and I really thank the team for making it happen. I've worked with the Telespark Digital. I think I'm doing some serious business with them, and they are channeling me into making Challographics into a bigger brand. So thank you for the footsteps I'm taking through joining Telespark Digital, and I think Challographics will be a bigger brand than it is now, because we are, as I said, we are doing branding, we are doing photography, videography, and also we are also into selling of product sales, such as skate shoes. That's one branch, and then the other business also is the one Nancy was talking of, selling t-shirts. So I also sell t-shirts and I brand them. So the ones we have been using in church, most of them, the ones the youths are having, the white t-shirts, they have been bought from my shop by Dave. So that's all I'm into, and thank you so much. Thank you, Eve, for the insights on marketing, and I think I'll work on it. I've also learned a lot from it, from you, from everyone who talked today, and thank you, and have a good night.
Sorry, yes, thank you. My parting shot, I would leave you with a statement that I was also left with yesterday at noon. I happened to be in a certain conference, and the last thing the speaker said is that define where you want to go and start how to finish. This was his argument. After defining where you want to go, then definitely you have to start. So there is no discourse about starting. We are aiming at how are we going to end. So if we relate this to business, define where you want to go and know your ultimate goal, because in business we are not stopping. Know your ultimate goal. The reason as to why I was saying that start, prepare, how to finish is that regardless of what you may encounter in between, you must get to the end point. So regardless of whatever challenge that may come in between, you must meet your expected goal in business. Thank you.
Awesome. If you can go next.
Yeah, so for me, my parting shot this evening will be something that I was able to listen from a podcast about entrepreneurship and marketing, and it was the statement goes like an entrepreneur cannot be good at business without personal development. If you want to be good at whatever that you are doing, it has to start from within. Let's say, for example, you want to improve your business, maybe the quality of the things that you are doing. You have to take an initiative and the responsibility of doing personal development. What are the things that are people doing currently in that particular area? What are the things that you can do to improve yourself? Are you going for a master class? Are you looking for someone who is better than you that can be your mentor and maybe teach you some of these techniques? So you cannot say that you want to continue being good at whatever you do if you're not doing any kind of personal development, because our businesses are an extension of ourselves. You cannot say that I want to open my business at, let's say you have a shop, and then you want to say I want to open my business at 8 a.m. Yet you're not working on anything on your side to actually keep time to be able to open that business at 8 a.m. So you have to do some personal development that will actually enable your business to go to the next level. And you find that most of the time, if you're able to do personal development, it will easily be reflected even in your business. Let's say, for example, you've started as a makeup artist and you're not doing anything to learn new technique. You're not doing anything to know about products in the market. You're not doing anything to expand this business. How you are behaving with this business will even reflect on how you are pricing it. Because you see, at the end of the day, you cannot tell me, because you see, there is a makeup artist who charges 7,000, there is a makeup artist who charges 3,500, there is a makeup artist, even in this current age, who charges 600 shillings. So you see, you cannot wake up one morning and then stop charging people 600 shillings and then you want to charge people 3,500. It's not possible. So you will only have the courage and the guts to even go higher in your pricing if you've taken time to develop yourself. So for me, I would encourage us, even in our areas of businesses, no matter the kind of field that you are in, because I've realized you are both dealing with different things, do some personal development. If it is attending a conference, please make sure you do. If it is learning something on YouTube about it, make sure you do. take an initiative to do personal development, and it will reflect even on how your business flourish, and you'll have the courage to even increase on your pricing.
Awesome. It has been a wonderful session. Once again, allow me appreciate our panelists for their openness, and to our audience, thank you so much for joining. We appreciate your lot. Today reminded us that struggles don't stop vision. The struggles we go through, they only shape the vision. So every challenge you're facing is preparing you for the next level of your business. Keep learning, keep building, keep moving forward one step at a time. Thank you for being part of this roundtable. We look forward to seeing you at the next TeleSpark session. Stay growing, stay inspired, and keep believing in what you are building. I was your moderator, Herin Shikoko.
Wow. Can we put our hands together for all of them? Kindly put your hands together for them. That was so wonderful. That was so great. So great. I am actually lost of words. I didn't know it would turn out such spectacular. Yes, I am so much delighted. Yeah, can even hear it from my heartbeat. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Participants, you truly decorate our sessions and add flavor to every second we spend in our virtual business meetings. Thank you. Secondly, to our moderator, Rain. Yeah, that was top notch. Yeah, thank you very much. And to our panelists, Charles Dennis, thank you. Eve, thank you very much. And Nancy, feel much appreciated for your insights. I was listening in awe and recording every beat. And indeed, I agree that I agree with Erin that this virtual space is only good for a launch pad, and you may want to take this to the grassroots, that is having a physical gathering and putting such a thing so that you can just freely talk and brush shoulders business wise and grow. And yeah, for that reason, I will take this moment to remind us, this earliest opportunity to remind us, or rather to inform us, that we are planning a physical meeting that will be dubbed TeleSpark Business Network. More details will follow. It should be coming up in the month of January, mid-January thereabout. So stay tuned, and we know it will be yet another great session where we will now speak face to face, as Erin was imploring Eve. Yeah, we will learn. Yes, so stay alert, and we will provide further details. We are considering having probably our last session this year next week on Friday. I will see how that goes, and yeah, a request has been made that we tackle maybe marketing. Yes, we will look into that and see how to make this even much better. I think we need such a session for our next virtual gathering, even as we train our hearts to expect more in such open forums and sessions and discussions, even as we gear up towards having lots and lots of physical meetings and gatherings where we'll just bring to life the essence of business partnership and networking. Yes, so I am so much delighted. Thank you very much for joining, and thank you very much for always believing in TELUSPARK, and for always sharing a word of kind words, encouragement, and comments and feedback, etc. We are so much grateful. So I won't speak much. I'm grateful. Thank you all, and see you in the next one. And don't forget to tag along a friend. Thank you, and bye for now.